What if Luke and Leia were raised and trained on Tatooine by Obi-Wan Kenobi from birth? The twin suns of Tatooine cast their fiery glow over the vast desert sands. In the modest shelter of a small hut on the planet's desolate surface, Obi-Wan Kenobi meditates. His once vibrant Jedi robes are faded, weathered by years under Tatooine's harsh sun. He sits cross-legged, his eyes closed, as the Force flows through him. Nearby, the soft murmur of children's laughter breaks the stillness. Luke and Leia Skywalker, barely 10 years old, spar with wooden practice sabers outside. Their movements are precise for their age, guided by the tireless training of their mentor. Leia's strikes are calculated and sharp, while Luke's are more impulsive but full of raw energy. Obi-Wan opens his eyes, a faint smile crossing his face as he observes their progress. "Focus, Luke," Obi-Wan calls, his voice firm but kind. A Jedi must be calm, centered. Recklessness is a path to failure. Luke lowers his saber, panting. "It's not fair. Leia's always faster." Leia grins, planting her hands on her hips. "Maybe you're just slow." Obi-Wan rises, walking toward them with a measured gait. "Strength and speed are tools, not goals. Leia, your precision is commendable, but do not underestimate the importance of patience. Luke, your determination is admirable, but it must be tempered with control. Together, you will find balance." The twins exchange glances, their sibling rivalry momentarily softened by their teacher's wisdom. Obi-Wan places a hand on each of their shoulders. "The galaxy's fate may one day rest on your shoulders. You must be ready." Years pass, and the twins grow into skilled young warriors, their bond strengthened by their shared training. At 16, Luke and Leia accompany Obi-Wan on a journey to Mos Eisley, their first venture beyond their secluded home. The spaceport is a hive of activity, a chaotic mix of traders, smugglers, and alien species. Leia surveys the scene with a sharp eye. "This place reeks of corruption and opportunity," Luke counters, grinning. "If you know where to look." Obi-Wan chuckles softly. "The galaxy is rarely black and white. It is our duty to navigate the gray with integrity." As they weave through the bustling crowds, a commotion draws their attention. A Rhodian smuggler argues with a bunch of stormtroopers, their blaster rifles raised menacingly. Leia's hand moves instinctively to the hilt of her lightsaber, concealed beneath her cloak. "Patience," Obi-Wan warns. "There is more to this than meets the eye." Suddenly, a blaster shot rings out. The Rhodian collapses, and the crowd scatters. Leia's anger flares, but Obi-Wan steps in front of her. "Not here. Not now," he says firmly. "There are battles we cannot fight openly. The Empire's reach is vast." Leia reluctantly lowers her hand, her expression stormy. Luke places a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We'll make a difference, Leia. Just not today." Meanwhile, in the Imperial Palace on Coruscant, Emperor Palpatine sits on his throne, his pale, wrinkled face illuminated by the cold light of his chambers. Darth Vader kneels before him, the dark armor of the Sith Lord gleaming. "The children of Skywalker live," Palpatine hisses, his voice dripping with malice. "Kenobi hides them well, but the Force has revealed their presence to me." Vader's mechanical breathing deepens. "If they are alive, they must be destroyed." Palpatine's yellow eyes gleam. "They are powerful. They will join us, or they will fall. You, my apprentice, will bring them to me." Vader rises, his cape swirling around him as he turns to leave. "As you wish, my master." Back on Tatooine, Obi-Wan senses the disturbance in the Force. In the middle of a training session, he suddenly halts, his expression grave. "What is it?" Leia asks, lowering her saber. A shadow approaches. Obi-Wan replies, "The Empire knows of you. We must prepare." The twins exchange worried glances, but nod in unison. That evening, Obi-Wan gathers them around a small fire outside their hut. "You are strong," he begins, his voice heavy with emotion. "Stronger than I ever imagined. But strength alone will not be enough. The Sith will test you, tempt you. You must hold on to the light." Luke looks down, troubled. "What if we fail?" Obi-Wan places a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Then you rise again." A Jedi is not defined by their fall, but by their ability to stand. Leia's gaze is steely. "We won't let you down, Master Kenobi." Obi-Wan smiles faintly. "I know." The next morning, the calm of the desert is shattered by the roar of Imperial ships descending from the sky. Stormtroopers fan out across the dunes, their white armor glinting in the sunlight. At their head stands Darth Vader, his imposing presence radiating menace. Obi-Wan ignites his lightsaber, its blue blade humming to life. "Luke, Leia, stay together. Trust in the Force." The twins ignite their own sabers, their faces determined. As the stormtroopers advance, the three Jedi charge into battle, their blades weaving a dazzling dance of light and motion. Luke and Leia fight with a harmony born of years of training, their movements complementing each other perfectly. Vader watches them for a moment before stepping forward, his crimson blade igniting with a snap hiss. He moves to engage Obi-Wan, their sabers clashing in a blaze of sparks. "You cannot protect them forever, old man," Vader growls. "I will protect them as long as I draw breath," Obi-Wan replies, his voice steady. As the battle rages, Luke and Leia face wave after wave of stormtroopers, their strength and unity driving them forward. But the tide of the battle begins to turn as Vader's overwhelming power forces Obi-Wan to his knees. "Run!" Obi-Wan shouts to the twins. "You must survive." Leia hesitates, but Luke grabs her arm, pulling her away. "We can't help him if we're dead." The twins flee into the desert, their hearts heavy with the loss of their mentor, but their resolve stronger than ever. Obi-Wan's sacrifice ensures their escape, but the fight for the galaxy is far from over. In the quiet of the night, far from the battlefield, Luke and Leia stand on a rocky outcrop, gazing at the twin suns dipping below the horizon. Leia's voice breaks the silence. "We'll finish what he started. We'll bring balance to the Force." Luke nods, determination burning in his eyes. Together. The hunt begins. Darth Vader stalks Tatooine with an unrelenting determination, his presence casting a long shadow over the desert planet. He systematically dismantles every safe haven Obi-Wan might have established, leaving no corner of the planet untouched. During one fateful encounter, Vader discovers Luke. The boy, barely in his teens, stands defiant, his blue lightsaber ignited in trembling hands. Leia, hidden in the dunes as per Obi-Wan's instruction, watches helplessly as Vader overwhelms Luke and captures him, spiriting him away aboard his Star Destroyer. Leia, left heartbroken, finds herself alone in the vast desert. As she mourns the loss of her brother and mentor, the shimmering apparition of Obi-Wan's Force ghost appears before her. His voice, calm and steady, fills her with resolve. "Leia, your path is not over," Obi-Wan says, his form radiating a faint glow. "You must seek out Yoda on Dagobah. He will train you as I once trained your father. The galaxy's hope now rests with you." Guided by Obi-Wan's words, Leia embarks on a perilous journey to Dagobah, leaving behind the only home she has ever known. 10 years later, the galaxy is gripped by the iron fist of the Empire, and Darth Vader's enforcer, a shadowy Sith apprentice cloaked in black, spreads fear among the rebels. It is Luke Skywalker, now fully consumed by the dark side. Under Vader's brutal tutelage, he has become a master of the Force and a formidable warrior. Luke, believing Leia perished long ago, channels his grief into a fiery hatred that fuels his power. Meanwhile, Leia has emerged as a beacon of hope. After a decade of rigorous training under Yoda, she has become a Jedi Knight. Her connection to the Force is deep, tempered by wisdom and clarity. Yoda's passing left her with the weight of responsibility, but she carries it with unwavering determination. She leads a strike force of rebels, her lightsaber now a brilliant green, a testament to her mastery. The fateful encounter takes place during a critical rebel assault. Luke, clad in dark robes, strides onto the battlefield, his crimson blade igniting with a menacing hiss. The rebels falter as he cuts through their ranks, his presence suffocating. Leia steps forward, her green blade meeting his in a brilliant clash of light. For a moment, Luke hesitates, his mask hiding his shock. "Leia," he whispers, disbelief coloring his tone. "It's me, Luke," she replies, her voice steady. "You're not beyond saving." Anger flares in Luke's eyes. "You died. Vader told me you were gone. You abandoned me." Leia's expression softens. "I never stopped hoping for you, Luke. You were taken from me. But this isn't who you are. The brother I knew would never bow to the dark side." Their battle begins in earnest, the clash of their sabers lighting the battlefield. Each strike is precise, each movement echoing the lessons they learned together as children. They are equals, their bond evident even in combat. The memories of their shared training haunt them both. Leia's patience against Luke's impulsive strikes, Obi-Wan's voice urging balance and calm. As their duel rages, exhaustion sets in. Both fall to the ground, their breaths ragged. Luke's mask is cracked, revealing a face torn between rage and sorrow. Leia kneels nearby, her eyes pleading. It is then that Obi-Wan's Force ghost appears, his presence serene yet commanding. "Luke," Obi-Wan says gently, "you have suffered, but suffering need not define you. Look at your sister. She embodies what you were meant to be. You still have a choice." Luke's grip on his lightsaber falters as tears well in his eyes. "I thought I had no one left." Leia reaches out, her hand steady. "You were never alone, Luke. Come back to the light. Together, we can end this." Overwhelmed by emotion, Luke casts his saber aside. "What have I done?" he whispers. Luke and Leia enter the cavernous throne room, their footsteps echoing on the polished obsidian floor. The shadows of towering columns stretch ominously toward the center, where Emperor Palpatine waits, seated on his throne. Darth Vader stands by his side, a silent sentinel, his breathing mechanical and rhythmic. Palpatine's yellow eyes glimmer with malice as he rises. The Skywalker twins. A family reunion long overdue. Leia steps forward, her green lightsaber igniting with a sharp hiss. "Your reign ends here, Palpatine." Luke remains silent, his crimson blade already in hand. He glances at his sister, conflicted but resolute. Palpatine's laughter fills the room. "How delightful! Brother and sister, light and dark. But there is only one truth, power. And I hold it all." With a flick of his wrist, Palpatine unleashes a torrent of Force lightning at Leia. She raises her lightsaber just in time, the energy crackling against the blade. Luke hesitates, torn between his allegiance to the Sith and his bond with Leia. "Luke," Leia calls out, her voice strained but steady. "This is your chance to break free." Vader steps forward, his red saber igniting. "Your destiny is with me, my son." Do not let her weaken you. Luke's grip tightens on his weapon, and for a moment, the room is silent except for the hum of the lightsabers. Then, with a guttural yell, he charges at Vader. Their blades clash violently, the impact sending sparks into the air. Leia, seeing her opportunity, lunges at Palpatine. He sidesteps her strike with unnatural speed, cackling as he hurls her backward with a wave of his hand. She rolls to her feet, her expression fierce. Luke attacks with ferocity, his strikes fast and unrelenting. Vader parries with precision, his strength a match for Luke's aggression. "You've grown powerful," Vader admits, his voice cold and measured. "But anger makes you predictable." Luke growls, unleashing a force push that sends Vader stumbling back. "I'm not the weak boy you took from Tatooine." Their duel becomes a blur of motion. Vader's strikes are deliberate, meant to exploit Luke's openings. Luke counters with speed and cunning, his years of Sith training evident. The clash of their sabers sends shockwaves through the room, the energy crackling like thunder. "You're still a slave to him," Luke shouts, his blade locking with Vader's. "Join us, Father. End this madness." Vader's hesitation is brief but palpable. "It is too late for me, Luke." Meanwhile, Leia confronts Palpatine, her green saber flashing in calculated arcs. Palpatine wields no lightsaber, relying instead on the dark side's raw power. He summons a whirlwind of debris, hurling it at Leia. "You cannot defeat me, child," Palpatine sneers. "You are nothing compared to your father." Leia leaps over the incoming debris, her movements graceful yet powerful. She lands behind Palpatine and strikes, her blade grazing his robes. Palpatine snarls and retaliates with a blast of lightning. Leia absorbs the attack on her saber, pushing forward with unyielding determination. "You've underestimated me," she retorts, her voice steady. "And that will be your undoing." As Luke and Vader's duel rages on, Luke gains the upper hand. With a swift strike, he disarms Vader, sending his saber clattering across the floor. Vader collapses to his knees, his mechanical breathing labored. Leia watches the scene, her focus divided as she fends off another of Palpatine's attacks. "Strike him down, Luke," Palpatine commands, his voice dripping with malice. "Take your rightful place at my side." Luke raises his blade, his hands trembling. He looks to Leia, who meets his gaze with calm defiance. "Luke, don't," she pleads. "You're stronger than this. You're stronger than him." Luke's blade falters, and he steps back. "I won't be your pawn anymore," he declares, turning to face Palpatine. Enraged, Palpatine unleashes a torrent of Force lightning at Luke. Leia intercepts the attack, her saber absorbing the energy as she strides toward the Emperor. Luke joins her, his crimson blade igniting alongside her green one. Together, they advance on Palpatine, their sabers weaving a coordinated assault. Palpatine fights back with devastating power, summoning the dark side to its fullest. The room shakes as lightning crackles, and the twins are forced to split their focus, evading his attacks while striking when they can. Leia sees an opening and lunges, her saber slicing through Palpatine's arm. He howls in pain, his fury shaking the chamber. "Fools!" he roars. "I am eternal." "No," Leia replies, her voice calm and resolute. "You're just a man consumed by greed and fear." As Palpatine summons one last surge of power, Leia drives her saber into his chest. He lets out a final, ear-piercing scream as his body disintegrates into the Force. Luke turns to Vader, who lies weakened but alive. Anakin's face is partially visible beneath the damaged mask, his eyes filled with a mix of regret and hope. Vader whispers, "My time is over. Save the galaxy, my son. For both of us." Luke and Leia watch as Vader breathes his last, his form fading into the Force. The Death Star begins to collapse as the twins escape aboard a rebel ship. The galaxy is free of the Sith's grip, and the rebellion celebrates its victory. Luke and Leia stand together, looking out at the stars. "Together we'll rebuild," Leia says, her voice filled with hope. Luke nods. "The galaxy deserves peace, and we'll ensure it lasts." In the years that followed, Luke and Leia became the guiding lights of a galaxy reborn. As Jedi Masters, they worked tirelessly to rebuild the Jedi Order, instilling in their students the lessons of balance, compassion, and unity they had learned through their own trials. The Republic, under Leia's leadership, entered a golden age of diplomacy and justice, no longer burdened by the shadow of the Sith. Though the scars of war remained, the twins' bond served as a symbol of hope for countless worlds, proving that even in the darkest times, the light of the Force could prevail. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.